I have a question. I'm taking it easy. Okay. No? Nobody has a
She does.
question? Well, okay, good. Jane?
It's kind of more of a statement. My name is Lynn Shaw, and I'm a new member, starting with that to everybody. I work with human trafficking of American children. And I am fighting very hard with the city, the state, and also on the federal level that nobody in New York seems to know about. We have pending, and all of our elected officials are pushing for the full decriminalization of the sex trade here in New York City. Now, does everybody know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Simply put, it will mean you can have a brothel next door, it will be legal. The law enforcement I work with tells me they're flooding in from all over the country. Children are the product. They're flooding into Hunts Point up in the Bronx, and including our new governor, Kathy Hochul. She is only listening to the voices of one side, which is the George Soros pro-sex trade side. All of the people I work with, Equality Model it's called, we want to partially decrim and help prostituted people we believe are victims should they want help, offering exit strategies and resources should they want, and hold responsible those who cause the harm, brothel owners, pimps, traffickers. And this is falling on deaf ears. Everybody's going for the full decriminalization. What are we going to do about it? We have to first educate everybody.
We have to first educate people about it, and it's also, it's a national issue because we
Yes.
know that they're pouring across the southern
Yes.
border. We know that girls, women and girls are being trafficked. Some of them are being used as basically as human shields. They're being used as children of the family members, and they're brought in, they're let go in the custody of whoever the male is who took them, and they're just dispersed throughout the country, and there's no way to identify them again. So that's happening, and as you said, it's
Well, there's
happening
that,
here.
but there's also American children,
And
especially girls of color that are, vulnerable, oppressed, that nobody's looking for.
so so first of all, thank you for what you're doing, and it can't be easy.
I worked with the Trump administration, and we were making great strides that the public never heard about with human trafficking. They didn't hear about the Native American, indigenous peoples. They didn't hear about everything going on, ever. And that's all day one was erased, taken away.
The problem is, as we've seen, and as we learn more and more every day, the media controls the news cycle. They control what you see, and more importantly, more dangerously, what you don't see. So there has to be an awareness, and as Tom brought out, you have to have people that enforce the laws. We do have laws, believe it or not, it's illegal to traffic people.
Yes.
But we have to enforce these laws and not have people say, well, some of it's okay, or well, they really wanted to, or you're shaming them because they just choose to live their life that way, and that's how they make money. You're trying to make them, homeless. You're slut shaming the sex trade. And if you get a DA who will not prosecute shoplifting, retail theft under $250, that's something that Alvin Bragg has proposed. And I realize this is a different topic, but it's the same idea. If you're not going to enforce a law, how does that help? How is that helping a small neighborhood business? How is that generally run by immigrants, often first generation? And, it's getting a little off topic here, but, I see this all the time in the neighborhood. People think Upper East Side, it's this hoity-toity. No, it's pretty much a bedroom community with mom and pop stores. These people come here from another country, they buy into the American dream, they believe what we grew up with, what we believe with every fiber in our being. And they work hard, they save their money, maybe they're a busboy, and then they become a waiter, and then they become the manager, they save money, they take out a loan, they open a restaurant. And their family members work there. Other immigrants are working there. And then the government, all of a sudden, they're out of business. Well, they didn't go out of business. It's nothing they did. The government put them out of business. The larger chains were able to stay open. Small stores were closed down. Home Depot was open. Why? And that's why every single race is important. And one of the reasons I'm running for city council is because I believe that all politics is local. And if you don't have control of the city council, now we're seeing the school boards, that's where it starts. We have to take that back. We have to stop this insanity. We have to stop being worried about being yelled at. We have to stop being worried about being called a Nazi. We have to stop being worried. But I just want to get back. So to your specific, it's awareness. It really is. It's awareness and forcing people to obey the law, to enforce the laws that are already on the book. It's fighting back. It's when somebody says, oh no, we're going to decriminalize, say, no, we're not, and give the reason why. I get called a Nazi, a white supremacist, because I say, I'm Mark Foley, I support the police. I'm out on the street, Mark Foley, I support the police. And the people who have a negative response to that have been 100% have been white, generally older females. The people who, if I'm in a marginal neighborhood, the people who stop and come and take my card are black, Hispanic, gay, straight, old, young, male, female. I was on 92nd and 2nd the other day. The majority of the people who took my card were young minorities. So, as Tom said, their communities are the ones that are being destroyed by this. And we have to start taking back every single seat. We need someone who'll perform an audit. That's important. The DA, Tom's right, this is his seat is the most important seat in the city. This month, next month. And we have to start there. I think my seat is important. We have 51 city councilors, 48 of them are Democrats. And they generally go from job to job. They go from the assembly to the city council to here. None of them have had a real job. None of them have had to make payroll. None of them, when times are bad, had to pay out of their own pocket, pay their employees. Because I made a promise to them that I would pay them. None of them knows how to look at a spreadsheet or a financial statement. Oh, we need money, we'll just raise taxes. You can't do that in business. If I need money, I can't just go and say, hey, somebody else give it to me. It doesn't work that way. So we need to kick out the career politicians. We need new blood. And we need people with solid, conservative American principles. It sounds radical, but my God, it's simple. This is how we were raised. This is how my immigrant grandfather raised me. He didn't come to this country and tear it down. I was telling somebody the story earlier. When he was older, I was asking him stories because I wanted to collect them, and tears in his eyes, and he says, God bless America. He was a minority. He got the crap kicked out of him because he was different. Same as a lot of other people. He didn't say, well, this is a racist country and whatever. He worked hard. He felt he had to work extra hard, and he did. And he wanted to make something of himself. He would be tickled pink that he grew up in New York, that his grandson is running for office in New York, in the city that he was poor, broke, no prospect for a better life. But he worked hard, ended up owning a business, paid for my college. 8th grade education, Italian immigrant. Sorry. Nobody's accused me of not liking the sound of my voice.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you. My question is that both of you will be walking into a Democratic rat's nest on the first day of office. What do you feel will be your best avenue to action?
So the best avenue is, so first of all, there are 3 Republicans. There are other more conservative-leaning Democrats that have to run as Democrats where they are. So it's a little better than people think, not much. So it's the same way. It's about getting your ideas out in the public so people know what the real issues are, not letting somebody else define your terms. Never let anybody define what your story is. You have to tell them what you're doing, why you're doing it, what you need to do, what the results will be. Not, I'm thinking about this, and oh, he's doing that, and that's what they do, and of course it's racist, and it's going to affect this way more. It's like, no, it's not. It's demonstrably false. I've had people arguing with me in the street that cops are going around indiscriminately murdering minorities. I said, well, how many did you think they murdered last year? Unarmed? Thousands. Well, the number is 36. They said, oh, you don't care that 36 black men. I said, I do, but it's not 1,000. How many cops were killed last year? It's 100 and something. So,
Part of your problem is the press.
So I can tell you from that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to expose this every single time. I mean, one of the greatest things is I'm black and I'm Hispanic and I'm white. I'm an Afro-Latino. So the conversations that are happening to a lot of people don't work towards me because I don't have these privileges and all these different things that people are speaking about, which is based in nothing. It really is based, these entitlements based in nothing. So when people come to these kind of conversations, I've been speaking against Black Lives Matter, BLM, really it's BLM, because Black Lives do matter, but BLM is a terrorist organization. Just like Antifa, it's a terrorist organization. So when they come to say something to me, they fall in deaf ears because I know exactly the conversation. They've never ran into a person who's an investment banker who actually understands the issues. They don't understand the issues. They're just getting, as Mark was saying, as Tom was saying, just the media. So the best way I could do is actually show people the other way, exactly how I became successful, because I relate to them just as they relate to myself. These are the ways that we win. I don't call Democrats enemies or not my enemy. The person who's my enemy is actually the progressives. The progressives are destroying our city. They create a sanctuary city so that what happens, businesses leave. Because we used to get 50% of our city budget came from the federal government. 25 came from the state government, and 25 came from the city government. But now, we're not getting any of the other money, the 75% of their money. So we're living on the one potato chip of money, the 25%, and we're purging all of our businesses. We have no efficiencies coming into the city. So the biggest thing is bringing dollars here, bringing jobs here, and the tax base comes as a byproduct of that. But the infrastructure, having energy, having these different things to make money for the 340,000 pensioners, the people who work for the city who are now being pushed out of the city, they relate to myself just like anything else, and I help to bridge that to the entire city and to every single candidate running, Democrat or Republican, but I'm against the progressive agenda. The agenda of progressives is the enemy.
Thank you.
We have one last question.
I have a question for Mark and Gabby together. So we have congestion pricing and we have the paper bag tax. Do you think that's actually benefiting the city at all? I mean, I think it's a nuisance and I think it's
No.
annoying. I think it actually makes me not want to take cab and makes me not want to, well, whatever. I won't tell you what to do with paper bags or whatever. That's a story for another day.
I'm against the 5% paper bag. What does it do? It actually creates an environment that's more disgusting and dirty, you know? All these things are fees because the mayor is trying to get money. Because he's pushing money out, he's pushing jobs out, but he still has to run the city. You know, he still has to run the city with money. So where is he gonna get the money? Taxing different things. It forces you out at the exact same as getting the money. That's what they're doing. That's what these mandates are for. To push 90,000 of our essential workers into poverty, into homelessness, into out of a job when we're clapping for them at 7 o'clock last year. Now we're all pushing them out. This is the reason why we're going to win this election. All of us are going to win this election and change the way that New York City looks to the rest of the world. Be a magnet for people. Like I said, taking these dollars that are horrible that Joe Biden is looking to do for people. I mean, right now it's 3.5 trillion. It could be 5 trillion. Could you imagine that? I'm going to take 5 trillion and bring it to New York City for accountability, just like we did in the past for hundreds of years. Country's 240 something years old now, 46 years old now, right? We've been doing this, but we've forgotten. I'll be the first time a comptroller will be a Republican since 1937, and I'll be the very first Hispanic for New York City's history. We're going to win. The city is 40% Hispanic, and we're going to win it because I'm appealing to them. Getting 3 out of every 5 votes, it's a victory.
I want to thank our candidates tonight, and I want to thank all of you.